How's it going, everybody? This is RBT coming at you with college football week 10 prediction video. And it's crazy that it's already week 10 of the college football season. That's insane. Only 4 more weeks to go. Man, it's flying by, that's for sure. It's almost November, which is a good thing because school, we get a month off from school for well, I think most colleges get a month off. So, but anyways, that's my first time experiencing the college Christmas winter break, whatever you want to call it. We get a month off, so that's awesome. But there's a con to that because football season will be over and there'll be bowl season then. But anyways, let's get into this video. This little quick. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Let's get to the video. Wednesday night, Cincinnati at Memphis. I don't think Memphis has a shot. The worst team in the American Athletic. Well, when you think about it, there's about 3 teams you could say is the worst in the American Athletic. You have Memphis, you have South Florida. Well, 4 really. Temple and Connecticut. They're all bad teams. So that's kind of far-fetched to say that the worst team, but they're in that lower 4 tier. They're getting things going in Memphis. They're not great yet, but they weren't great in the Conference USA, and they go into a BCS conference. A team like Cincinnati, I mean, I say anything can happen on weeknights, Thursday nights, any night but a Saturday. Something can happen, especially when you're a primetime game playing away. So crazy things can happen, and crazier things have happened. But I fully expect Cincinnati to be able to win this game. Brendan Kay's a great quarterback. They have a great offense there. As long as Tommy Tuberville doesn't mess with the offense, it's fine. But I would go Brendan Kay and the Cincinnati offense by 17 points. I'll go, I don't know, let's go 20. I'll go 37-17 Cincinnati over Memphis. And next we have the absolute worst Thursday night primetime game of the year. South Florida and the lower tier teams of the AAC versus Houston, who is actually very impressive. And man, I'm not sure if Houston plays. Let me check real quick. I'm not sure if Houston plays Louisville and oh wow, they play UCF and Louisville back to back. That's a bummer, but Houston's undefeated, and they have 1 loss on the season right now, and that was to BYU by a good BYU team. That just beat Boise State. They lost them by 1 point, and that's crazy. They just came out last week and absolutely obliterated Rutgers. So Houston, man, they're on a roll. They still have a possibility to win the AAC. If they can beat one of UCF and Louisville, they very well might be able to. That's crazy. But I fully expect Houston to go in there and get the W. South Florida is just not a good team whatsoever. I think South Florida actually pulled 1 win out of their butt against, was it Cincinnati they beat? But anyways, Houston starting quarterback David Plon came into the season when he was supposed to play, got hurt, and then John O'Corn, the freshman, came in. He's starting now, but he's looking mighty good. Like I said, they almost beat BYU. If they had beaten BYU, they'd be ranked in the top 25, maybe top from 10 to 20 right now, being undefeated, and with a win over 2 quality teams in BYU and Rutgers. But South Florida, yes, they beat Cincinnati, so it was, and that was very, very surprising. That was the first one of the season. But I fully expect Houston to win this game. And the worst Thursday night primetime game of the year, Houston will win this, I believe, by a lot of points. I'll go 45-17, Houston over South Florida. Rice at North Texas. 2 schools have great offenses. North Texas has been a surprise in this USA this year, so has Rice. But Rice, as you saw in that first game against A&M, they have a potent offense. They've only got lost 2 games on this season thus far. They're really dominating this USA. This is going to be a tough game for both schools. I mean, 2 really good offenses. Probably actually a better game to watch compared to the South Florida-Houston game. I'm going to go Rice, and a lot of points is going to be scored. I'm going to go 41-38 Rice over North Texas in this one because of better quarterback play. Next, we have Louisiana-Monroe at Troy. I hate to say it, but Louisiana-Monroe is pretty much worthless without Colton Browning at quarterback. With Colton Browning at quarterback and full health, I believe they're competitive. Without them, I don't believe are near as competitive as they need to be competitive against the better teams in the Sun Belt like Troy. So I'm going to Troy at home. No problem for Troy. I'll go Troy by 10. I'll go 30-20 Troy over Louisiana-Monroe. Arizona State at Washington State. This is another Thursday night game. Mike Leach has them playing really good at Washington State. They're playing very competitive. They aren't really getting destroyed like people expected them to in their games, but I mean they're 2 wins away from a bowl game. They have to win 2 of the last 4 games to make a bowl. Uh, they have to take 2 out of 4 of Arizona State, Arizona, Utah, and Washington. Is it possible? Yeah. Is it unlikely? Probably more unlikely than not. But it's a possibility, and if it happened, I wouldn't really be surprised. But with that said, I don't think this is a game that they pull. I think Taylor Kelly and an offense Arizona State's very good. The defense is coming together. They're actually ranked now, I believe, or close to it. But they good offense there, good overall team. Absolutely obliterated Washington last week. So I'm gonna go Arizona State in this one I'll go by 2 touchdowns. I'll go 41-27 Arizona State over Washington State. Friday night we have USC at Oregon State, and this is the Oregon State team that they were extremely competitive with Stanford last week. But the surprising thing is that they didn't score a lot of points. I mean, I know Stanford's defense is great, but Oregon State has the #1 passing offense in the country. Sean Mannion's been looking great. Didn't look too fantastic in Stanford, but not too many quarterbacks do. But I expect him to come out and have a really good game against USC. They have a very good passing offense and playing at home. I mean, this is a big deal for Oregon State. I mean, getting wins over programs like USC, even when they're not up to full force, it's still a huge step for the program, and so on and so forth. And it's going to be crazy playing in Corvallis. I mean, Corvallis, when Corvallis, the stadium in Corvallis at Oregon State's filled up at night against a big opponent as in USC, that is one of the toughest stadiums in the country. It's ridiculous. But I'm not real sure. This is a hard game to predict. I mean, USC came out last weekend. Really shocked me with how well their defense played against Utah. But I mean, it's really like a sorry, I just look at the screen there. My vision's horrible. It's like a very inconsistent USC defense. One week they'll come out look great, next week they'll come out look very bad, so on and so forth. But I think this is a week Oregon State can score enough points to beat USC. I don't think it's going to be those scores that Oregon State's been prior to the Stanford game putting up each and every game. I don't think they get into the 40s. I think they get into the late 20s and beat USC close. I think they can get it done. USC is going to be competitive. They always are. But I'm going to go Oregon State 28-25. Sean Mannion has just a couple throws that lead to a victory over USC. So 28-25, Oregon State over USC. Next we have Tennessee at Missouri. And I haven't really actually put too much thought into about this upset, but I think I'm actually going to do it. I know I have a strange method on here of picking, but I'm usually pretty successful in my theories and everything. And honestly, I mean, I'm just saying. But I put a lot of emphasis on emotional games, like emotional wins, teams coming off of emotional losses, etc., etc. We all know Missouri's coming off an emotional loss, losing to South Carolina last week, which was a really insane win. If they win that game, they might be the 4th-ranked team in the country right now. But I mean, it's impressive what Missouri had done prior to that. I mean, yes, they got a little lucky with that. Hey, that's part of the game. You got to take advantage when you can and make the most out of it, and they did. And kudos to them. With that said, I think Tennessee goes in there after an emotional loss for Missouri, goes in there and completely shocks Missouri and gets the win. And it'll just screw up the SEC East that much more than it is already. But I really think Tennessee can go in there. Doesn't matter. Even if that second-string quarterback that played against Alabama comes in there and plays against Missouri, he was very impressive. He really was. really did surprise me how great he looked. And even if he starts, I believe they can beat Missouri. But maybe a better shot if he starts compared to Justin Worley. I mean, the guy's Richard's already burnt, so why not play for the future? But regardless, I think Tennessee really can beat Missouri. I honestly do. Emotional loss for Missouri. 3 straight games has been kind of insane for Missouri, coming off of big losses. They might, honestly, really might be overlooking Tennessee a little bit, and that's not what they need to do. They might be looking forward, and I think Tennessee can get the win. I'm going to go Tennessee. Tennessee 34, Missouri 31, and an upset win. That's probably my biggest upset of the week. Our next we have Auburn at Arkansas. I don't think this is really going to be a test. Arkansas, I think they're going to get better over time. No shot in Arkansas. They just don't have the players for Brett Bielema's system just yet. Yes, Alex Collins is the player to build your team around for the next 2 years. He'll probably be gone after his junior year, but still, they need some better linemen, a quarterback that can actually manage the game without throwing picks, a good defense. They don't have that right now. Maybe Auburn's caught looking forward to the Iron Bowl, even though it's a month away. They're just looking forward, thinking they're too good for themselves now that they're ranked in the top 10. But I think Auburn, regardless, has too great of offense for the Arkansas defense. I think Auburn wins pretty big. I'll go 45-21 Auburn over Arkansas. Next we have Ohio State at Purdue, and as much as I don't like it, I don't think Ohio State has any shot at losing this game. Purdue's been one of the most disappointing. Wow. Looking at highlights of Dez Bryant getting in an argument with Tony Romo. That man, as a former quarterback, that was the most annoying thing. Is when somebody, a wide receiver, anybody talks about how they're open, and you don't throw it to them. Frick, sorry, we can't. We're getting rushed, and we can't look everywhere in every millisecond. Shut the frick up. You try to play quarterback and see how it is. That was my biggest pet peeve of playing quarterback, and still is. I cannot. Shut the frick up. You try to play quarterback. Okay, back to Purdue. Purdue's been extremely disappointing this season. They've only won 1 game. They've been getting blown out in a lot of games. Can they be competitive at home against Ohio State? I don't think so. If this was a night game, it'd be maybe a little different. But Ohio State, because like I said, anything can happen at night games. Anything can happen. That's one of 2 things. Anything can happen in night games, or anything can happen in weekday games. That's the thing. Or since weekday games are normally night games, anything can happen in night games any day of the week. So there's that. But Ohio State, no problem with Purdue. Purdue's defense is not where it needs to be. Their offense isn't not where it needs to be. The coach from Kent State that came into Purdue, I feel bad for him because he's a heck of a coach. I really don't know what happened. They're just not getting productivity on either side of the football. So Ohio State, big. Can they score 60 like they did against Ohio State? I think they could. I'll give them 50. I'll go 52-17. Ohio State over Purdue. Next, Northern Illinois at Massachusetts. The Jordan Lynch train keeps on rolling, gets a big win. He'll have another 200-yard rushing game. He's an absolute beast. And I really hope he gets invited to New York because he really deserves it. He is that Northern Illinois team. Without Jordan Lynch, that team might be under 500. And right now, they're trying to fight for a back-to-back BCS bowl berth. So Northern Illinois with a big win over Massachusetts, 42-20. Next, we have Wisconsin at Iowa. And Iowa, man, they've actually, their record doesn't really show, but they've actually been very, very competitive. I say that. They've only lost 3 games this season. They actually came out last week and beat Northwestern in overtime. And, man, it's crazy how far Northwestern's fallen off after that loss against Ohio State. What the frick is Dez Bryant's problem, man? Dez Bryant is a psychopath, dude. What the frick? What is his deal? I gotta look into that. You just don't do that. That's stupid. But anyways, Iowa's been very competitive. I've been very impressed with the way they play football. I love Iowa's style of football. I mean, it's not the most fun, upbeat Oregon-esque style of play. They play. I love those big. I don't necessarily like watching them, but I love the Big Ten Iowa prototypical 17-13, 20-13, 10-7 scores the Big Ten puts up, and I don't care about score. Wins, that's all that matters. I judge teams based on their wins because good teams find ways to win, even though certain areas struggle. You just find ways to win. That's the measurables of a good team. But regardless, Wisconsin is very good, very, very good. A three-headed beast, you can even say, at the running back position. Can they win this game? I think so. I think they can. They have two tough losses in the season. Really should only be one. Going back on that Arizona State game that had the horrible ending, but they were competitive against Ohio State. Came out, absolutely blew out Northwestern next week, which I expected. Coming off an emotional loss. But they just been playing very good on defense, very good on offense, running the football really well. Joe Stave's been okay, I was just reading Des Bryant's quotes. Like, what the frick? He's sitting there yelling at his quarterback. Shut the frick up. I gotta look at some quotes and stuff. I gotta read it more than this after this, if I remember. But regardless, sorry I'm getting so sidetracked. Wisconsin, not big. What the frick? Wisconsin, I'll give them a 13-point victory over Iowa. I don't expect it to be a big blowout, but Wisconsin with their defense and the running attack. Iowa has a very good running attack as well. Very good underrated running back in Mark Wiseman there. But solid defense to it, Iowa. They won't be able to hold a two-headed monster or three-headed monster at Wisconsin. Wisconsin 27-13 over Iowa. 27-14. 27-14. Next we have V-Tech at Boston College. Wow. I feel for Virginia Tech fans because I think I've said this before. I've said it many times actually. You can have the best defense in the country, but because that's really what I don't like about the quote that says defense wins championships. You can have the best defense in the world. You can have the absolute best players in history put onto one team in their prime and have a horrible offense, and it does not matter if you sack the quarterback every single play of the game. If you don't score points, that score's still 0-0. That's all that matters. Is this if your team cannot score points, I mean, the other team's still going to be in the ball game. So that's what's happening to Virginia Tech. I don't necessarily think it's their personnel. I really think it's big in the coaching and play calling. I think Logan Thomas just really hasn't had the necessary coaching that he needs at Virginia Tech. They have a great defense there, but their offense, man, it's just not looking good at all. I mean, they lost to Duke last week. They were looking to try to win the ACC, have a shot to make the title game, and I think they have as good as chances, probably the best chance out of any ACC school to beat Florida State with that great defense they have. It'd be a defense that Jameis Winston hasn't seen yet. But with that offense, man, I have no clue, but I thought at least they're going to be competitive and have the shot to. But now, after losing to Duke, I don't know. I don't think there is that shot. But hey, you got to give credit where it's due. Duke's 6-2, and Duke, if they can win the remaining games in their schedule, they can. If they can win 4 out of the last 5, they can be a 10-win team. That's kudos to David Cutcliffe and his staff, because that is an amazing feat at Duke. That's awesome. But I said that to say this. I think it's going to be close because of the analogy I just gave, because I'm still coming off that game. I can't expect Virginia Tech to score that many points playing at Boston College. I mean, and you got to watch out because Chase Reddick, the quarterback at Boston College, is very underrated. They have good running backs there, a couple good wide receivers. Can't remember the guy's name. He's a white guy, but he's a very good wide receiver. I saw him play a little bit against Clemson. He's very impressive. But I think Virginia Tech can win. They can outscore Boston College, and that's kind of crazy saying that in regards to Virginia Tech. But expect it to be extremely close. I will go Virginia Tech 17, Boston College 14 in this one. Next, Temple at Rutgers. How do you guys like my case? I've shown you before. Red Sox got the win tonight. Before the World Series, I was thinking about doing recaps of every single game, but that got a little bit too tough and time consuming. So I'm going to do a recap of the series. It's 2-2 right now, and it's scary. Baseball. If you're actually into baseball and you have a favorite team that you're extremely into, postseason baseball can be more exciting than football. It really can. And I this season have not caught myself screaming, not caught myself getting all hyped up over one Alabama game. And tonight, when Johnny Gomes hit the home run, I was up screaming, pumping my fist. Sounded kind of lame, but I was excited. And but that's what baseball does to me. It's really exciting. But okay, I'm getting off. It's too late to be getting off these rants. Time is really precious right now. But Temple at Rutgers. Rutgers, even though they're coming off that horrible loss against Houston, but Temple is just not a good football team whatsoever. They 2 years removed from the MAC into a BCS conference right now. They're pretty much shoved into it. One win on the season. That was against Army. Came out last weekend, gave up 59 points to SMU, and it's unacceptable. I think Rutgers can win. I think they'll come back after that tough loss, and I think they should get the W. Gary Nova should have a big comeback game. So let's go Rutgers 35, Temple 17. Next we have Illinois at Penn State. This game is actually kind of tough to pick. Two teams in the Big Ten that's trying to be competitive. And hey, Illinois is getting a lot better, I believe. I know they're under 500 now. I think 3-4. They're being competitive in their games. They're not necessarily getting. I think. Well, this is disregards to last week. They were absolutely obliterated by Michigan State. But before that. That's kind of understandable because Michigan State's defense is great. But disregard that, they've been competitive in every game they've played this season. So they still need to work on their defense. They still need to get that defense better because Tim Beckman, their head coach, isn't necessarily the biggest defensive guru. So they need to get somebody in there to help that D. But their offense is disregard last game. I don't know what happened last game, but their offense normally can score some points. They have a very it sucks just his last season, but Nathan Shieldhouse is a very exciting quarterback that is somebody we consider a playmaker. So I think they stand the game against Penn State. But Penn State, I believe that offense, because of the lack of defense, and Illinois' defense has struggled, though, in the last two games. They had not been that bad the first 6 weeks of the season, but the last 2 weeks, or first 8 weeks of the season, but the last 2 weeks, they gave up an average of 48 points a game. So I think Penn State comes back after that loss against Ohio State. Christian Hackenberg, the freshman, has a big game. Allen Robinson, too, has a big game. So Penn State, I believe, will score enough to beat Illinois. I'll go 42-30 Penn State over Illinois. Next, Army at Air Force. Army, man, they're just not looking good right now. They haven't been really competitive in the FBS level in a long time. But it's hard to pick. Both of these schools have struggled up to this point, but which school do you think is going to struggle more? Air Force with 1 win in the season. Let me do a little analyzation here. 1-7, who have they played? They have won Colgate. Nobody they've really played has been a horrible team. They beat Utah State, Boise State, Wyoming, Nevada, 2 high-scoring offenses. Navy, that's kind of expected. Competitive against San Diego State, who almost beat Fresno. And they lost bad to Notre Dame last week. And Army lost to Temple. I think I will give Air Force their second one of the season this game. I think they can win. I think Army's just defense not good enough, and I'm going to go Air Force. I think Air Force gets their second win. Close, 27-24 over Army. Next, we have Mississippi State at South Carolina. Can Mississippi State screw up the SEC East even more? No, I don't think so. I think playing at home during the day is not a big deal. Mississippi State's not that competitive against these what I consider the top tier teams in the SEC or the better level, better half in the SEC. I mean, Mississippi State about lost to Kentucky last week by God, even though Kentucky's getting better. It really depends though. If Connor, we saw how with the difference in South Carolina's offense once he came in the game. Just a tale of two quarters, two halves, whatever you want to call it. But if he's healthy and does play this full game, they should have no problem. If he is healthy, watch out for Mississippi State being around the game, staying in the game for the first half or so. But South Carolina should win by 2 touchdowns. I'll go 34 to 17, South Carolina over Mississippi State. And it could be a little bit more. But I'm going to be a little complacent here, 34-17, South Carolina over Mississippi State. Next we have North Carolina at NC State. And these two teams have not been having the best seasons and have not really been the best representations of best representations of North Carolina. God, you feel so bad for that guy. That guy that got picked off for the last out, he was crying in his post game interview. That's sad. You gotta feel bad for him. You know he feels so bad. God, he finally gets his chance to shine and he gets picked off. Man, that's gotta be horrible. I really feel for the guy. That could have happened to anybody. He just got caught. I mean, it wasn't like he was leading off too much. He just got really caught in between hops, and very unlucky for him. But I think North Carolina can win. I think Eric Ebron will be a huge mismatch for the North Carolina State defense. Nothing really impressed me at all from North Carolina State last week, even though they did hold Florida State pretty much to nothing after the first quarter. I mean, you gotta believe that. Well, one side of you wants to believe that Florida State let off the gas pedal for the last 3 quarters, but even in the second quarter they went for a fake kick up by 35 points. That's ridiculous. But anyways, I think North Carolina can win. That Bryn Renner, the Eric Ebron connection will be the key in this one, so watch out. North Carolina over North Carolina State by 10, 30-20. Next we have Wake Forest at Syracuse, and Wake Forest, man, they about beat Miami last week, and I think Tanner Price really showed what he can do last week. He's very competitive. He doesn't have the best talent around him. He has some good players, don't get me wrong. Mike Campanera is an NFL prospect at wide receiver. Wes Welker, clone, I believe. I believe he'll be very successful in the NFL as a slot receiver. Josh Harris, good running back, and a couple of other pretty good wide receivers. On the defensive side of the football, they have one of the best nose tackles, defensive tackles, whatever you want to call him, and Nikita Whitlock. He's actually leading the country in tackles for loss, and he's an awesome prospect. Don't know how he really translates to the NFL because he's 5'11", 250, but if you can play, you can play. Size doesn't always matter. But they have studs. Syracuse has not really been competitive in the ACC their first year in the conference. I mean, I remember one of my picks a couple weeks ago. I had Georgia Tech winning over Syracuse big because this is what Georgia Tech does. They beat the teams they're supposed to beat by a lot, and they either play competitive or lose badly to the teams they're supposed to be competitive with. And they beat them 55-0. That was 56-0. And that was enough. That's enough to put me over the edge for Wake Forest to beat Syracuse. How can you pick a team after they lost 56-0? You pick a team who lost 56-0 over a team that just almost beat the number 7 team in the country? No. Wake Forest over Syracuse by 17. Even though Wake Forest, you can't always count on them. They always lose those games that they're supposed to win sometimes, if there are any. But I'll go Wake Forest 30-17 over Syracuse. Next, we have Southern Miss at Marshall. How can you pick Southern Miss? The nation's longest losing streak. It's been going on for almost 2 years now, and that is sad. You have Marshall with a very good quarterback in Rakeem Cato. So let's go Marshall pretty big. 42-17 over Southern Miss. Next, we have Middle Tennessee at UAB. UAB still is not competitive in the CUSA, and I'm not sure with the resources that they have, the stadium that they have, the coaches that they have, that's not going to change anytime soon. So, and you look at Middle Tennessee that came out last week and had that crazy last second score to win the game. Very good quarterback in Logan Kilgore. So, a couple studs in that Middle Tennessee offense. They can score some points. So UAB, I think, loses to Middle Tennessee pretty big. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go 42-21. Middle Tennessee at UAB. And I was kind of second guessed myself there. I looked at Middle Tennessee's thing real quick, and their offense wasn't as high scoring as I thought they were. They had only scored 26 points per game. That was like 80th in the country. I thought they were way better than that. But I mean, judging from that game, I thought they looked very good on offense. But hey, I mean, teams can always change. I think they have really good players on offense. But anyway, Middle Tennessee 42. What did I say? Middle Tennessee 42, UAB 21. Next we have Western Kentucky at Georgia State. Enough said. I said the two words Georgia State. Western Kentucky, big, 34 to 10. Georgia State's just bad. There's probably half the FCS teams could beat Georgia State. Maybe more. Maybe 95% of the FCS teams could beat Georgia State. That's bad. But next we have Rhode Island at Old Dominion. Old Dominion let me down last week. They almost lost to Norfolk State. I predicted them to score 60 points. They scored 27. So let's average that out here and say, don't know what the average is off the top of my head, but I'll go 40 points for Old Dominion in this one. How is Rhode Island? I have no clue how good Rhode Island is. Rhode Island is 3-6 in the CAA conference, with losses to Fordham, Stony Brook, William & Mary, Brown, New Hampshire, and Delaware. So I'm confident picking Old Dominion and Tyler Heineke, however you want to say his last name. Big Rhode Island, 42-17. Next we have Clemson at Virginia, and I'm really wanting Clemson to lose another game. Sorry, Clemson fans. I don't think they're the number 8 team in the country. They're not impressive whatsoever. I mean, they've really decreased in production and what do you call it? It seems like no, it hasn't. It seems like their talent level has been cut in half ever since that Georgia game. I don't know what happened, but their team is playing that half the way they did since that Georgia game. It's just looking bad. But and what's gonna suck is I just don't think they're the number 8 team in the country. I don't think they're deserving of that spot. Especially with the loss. In the way they lost. And the thing is, if they don't lose another game, they might backdoor themselves into a BCS bowl. And I really don't think that's fair to the other teams. I mean, heck, give Northern Illinois a shot over Clemson because I just don't think that's fair. But anyways, and you could argue, hey, why give Northern Illinois a shot when they've played nobody, even though they beat 2 Big Ten teams in Iowa and Purdue. Not the best, but they've still beat BCS level teams. They have a great quarterback in their team. And then you go, hey, Clemson has not played the best schedule either. They have one big win over Georgia, yeah, give them that. And then they have a huge loss in their biggest other game against Florida State by almost 50 points, whatever. But and the rest of their schedule is not so great, and they've struggled with the likes of Boston College, and NC State, who they played last week and struggled with. Who was it? Maryland. They almost lost to Maryland. Well, 13-point game. It was closer than that when I saw it, but still. Off that tirade, Virginia's not a great team. I think their head coach, Mike London, is in his last days at Virginia. So Clemson this is the last week I'm gonna trust Clemson big. If Clemson lets me down, I'm done picking them big. 42-21, Clemson over Virginia. Next, we have Michigan at Michigan State. A prolific offense, I believe, and one of the best, if not the best, defense in the country with Michigan State. So I think I'm gonna have to go with Michigan State at home, a big defense. I'll probably be watching this game because there's not too many good games on TV this week. There really isn't. But I think Michigan State has enough. The Michigan defense is not good whatsoever. And Michigan State's offense, I mean, obviously has came around and scored 42 points last week against Purdue. And this is a Michigan team that gave up 47 points last week to Indiana, so they're subject to giving up points to almost anybody. So I think Michigan State can pull away and win this game by 10 points. I'll go 27-17 Michigan State over. 27-21. I think it'll be closer. 27-21 Michigan State over Michigan. Probably have a couple hate comments from Michigan fans, but that's just, you can't really justify the way your team's been playing. Navy at Notre Dame. I don't believe there should be any problem. I mean, when you play Navy, a couple mistakes and they'll hang in the ball game for a half or maybe even 3/4, but they might hang in for a little while. But Notre Dame pull away late, whether it be the beginning of whether it be the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. At some point they'll pull away big. Notre Dame 38-17 over Navy. Arizona at Cal. I believe in that Arizona team. I hyped them up probably more than anybody else in the world coming into the season. I still believe them. Still believe they have the players to tear up a Cal defense that's not great. So I'm going to go Arizona. Kadeem Carey, B.J. Dinker, whoever plays quarterback under that Rich Rodriguez system. I know Cal can put up some points. Arizona will outscore them. A senior-led defense at Arizona, they'll get it done here. 42-35 Arizona over Cal. Next we have Georgia versus Florida. And I lost a lot of respect for, not a lot of respect, but a lot of, I don't know what you would call it. I don't think Florida is as good as I thought they were defensively. And that really, really negates any future picks and just like, I respect in a way for their team because I just don't think they can beat teams like Georgia now because the defense is looking suspect just like their offense is. Now, the defense has kept them in the games, but their offense hasn't been able to overcome some of those. And now the defense is not looking so great. How can they beat a team like Georgia? I know Georgia's decimated. Todd Gurley should be back for this one. They'll have enough to beat Florida. I mean, Georgia's defense is not as bad as Florida's offense is, maybe. But regardless, I don't think Florida's offense can score enough to keep up with Georgia's defense. It comes down to quarterback play here, and I think easily, without a doubt, goes Georgia's way. So I think Georgia by 2 touchdowns. I'll go 31-17 Georgia over Florida. Next we have Minnesota at Indiana. We know Minnesota came off that big win against Nebraska last week. That was great for the program. I'm happy for them. Because of all they've just not been able to have fun. I mean, you can't have fun when your head coach is having seizures on the sidelines, man. I really do believe Jerry Kill. I think I've said this in every video. Jerry Kill just needs to hang it up. I mean, he's a good coach. He's a heck of a coach. But, I mean, in respect for his players and in their best interest, I think it'd be great for him just to hang it up because that's not healthy for a team to have a head coach have that happen to him just about every single game. And they look pretty fine without him. But with that said, I think Indiana has a great offense, high-scoring offense. Might be the highest-scoring offense in the Big Ten as a whole. Let me check that real quick. They're 8th in the country, 42 points a game, and so I believe that might be the highest. If it's not the highest, it might be one of the highest. Wow, is it? Wow, that's funny. Indiana and Michigan have the same exact point per game, 42.4 points per game. That's crazy. But anyways, I think Indiana can outscore Minnesota. Minnesota's going to be competitive in this game, but I believe Indiana's offense just goes crazy like they have been going lately and outscores Minnesota, something like 45-35. I think they get the win. Next, we have Northwestern at Nebraska. Who do you want to pick? The team that's been struggling ever since they lost to Ohio State, or the team that just lost in Minnesota and has the head coach who I believe is the most hated head coach by their fan base in the world, because the dude is an absolute tool. I cannot stand Bo Pelini. I've never stand him, and I don't believe most Nebraska fans can now. If you haven't heard, he came out last week and absolutely destroyed and just threw his coaching staff and his players just completely under the bus. Said that the players have not played how they've been coached to. Shut the frick up. It's all on you. You were recorded dogging your fan base. You're going to be gone after this season. Stop. But regardless, I think they get the win against Northwestern. Northwestern's just not been playing well, and you really can't pick them to win. this game. And what I do want to point out here is that so many people hated on me in my Big Ten prediction video. So many people did, because I had Nebraska losing 4 games. So many people went crazy because I had them losing 4 games. And that looks possible. They might lose more than 4. So that's why I hate when people hate on my videos, because they end up looking stupid. And it's all opinionated. So why hate on somebody's opinion when they could very well just as be as correct as you are? So even more correct than you are. So that, I believe, is stupid, and I'm glad I'm right, because I love proving people wrong. I love it. But Nebraska should win this game. You know, I hope they do. They lose just because of the fans that comment on that video. But Northwestern doesn't have enough. If Ken Coulter plays, I know he was injured last game. If he plays, he might be able to put some points up alone against Nebraska's defense, which is not a good defense whatsoever. But Nebraska should win. I'll go 40 to 27 over Northwestern. UTSA at Tulsa. I don't think this is a question. I think Tulsa should come out. Cody Green, great quarterback. He should be able to put up enough points to beat UTSA in this one. Tulsa's actually been struggling this season, and it's kind of unlike a Tulsa team, which has been the powerhouse, or at least one of the powerhouses of the CUSA conferences, the CUSA conference in the last couple seasons. So that's kind of crazy, but I still think they can come out and they can beat UTSA. They have too much, I believe, too much talent to lose to a team like Texas San Antonio. Tulsa's I think they're joining the AAC next season, something like that. But Tulsa wins this game, 28 to 17. Next we have Kansas at Texas. Enough there. I feel horrible for Kansas. I've always pulled for Kansas. I hope their football teams get back to the Todd Reesing days soon. My favorite player, hands down, in the history of college football is Todd Reesing. But it's not looking good. They should rehire Mark Mangino. That will be the right step. I mean, the guy's proven, and I don't understand why they fired him in the first place. Yes, he might have yelled at some players, but that's stupid. But Texas will continue rolling. They're looking impressive. Still don't think Mac Brown will be back next season, but they still have a shot to win the Big 12. They're undefeated in the Big 12, so they'll beat Kansas handily. Even though they almost lost to Kansas last season, you gotta remember that they almost lost to Kansas. But Texas, 45 to 17 over Kansas. Kent State at Akron. The difference in this game is playmakers at the skill positions, and that obviously goes to Kent State with Dree Archer and Trayon Durham, big playmakers. Win this game, even though they haven't been impressive defensively, but I don't know if Akron has enough to make up for that. So Kent State, or have enough to take advantage of that. So Kent State, I believe, wins this game 35 to 24. Next we have Iowa State at Kansas State. It comes down to quarterback play here. And that's obviously going to go to Daniel Sams, who I was looking at the QBRs this morning, and Daniel Sams is actually like 8th in the country in total QBR, which is really surprising to me because I didn't think he was all that great. But, I mean, QBRs are really good statistic behind judging the value of a quarterback, so I must be wrong. So I think they have enough to beat Iowa State at home. It should be pretty handily by at least 2 touchdowns. I will go 31 to 17, Kansas State over Iowa State. Next, West Virginia at TCU. TCU has completely fallen off the map ever since week 1. West Virginia hasn't been that great either. They've lost 3 straight games coming into this one, and I don't know. Can they beat TCU? Both teams are actually 1-4 in the Big 12. I had to take a look real quick. For some reason, I think I'm going to give it to West Virginia. I think team speed really is what's going to be the difference here. TCU they play competitive in every game. They don't lose by a lot. They haven't won every game, obviously, but they don't lose by a lot. That's for sure. But I'm going to go in a competitive ball game. West Virginia goes into TCU and gets the win. Close and a unstereotypical type score. West Virginia 23, TCU 20. Next we have Hawaii at Utah State. Sorry, let me send this text message real quick. Hawaii and Utah State. Who to pick? Who to pick? Utah State, no problem. Tucky Keaton, I'm not sure if he's back healthy. He probably is. I just don't know it. But even if he's not back, they have enough playmakers around him, and with them, it'll be the same. Utah State should win this game quite handily. 35 to. I'm liking number 17 today. I'll go 35-17 Utah State over Hawaii. Next, we have San Jose State at UNLV, and David Fowles, the quarterback of San Jose State, really disappointed me this season. He hasn't really had a big game up until last week. He's thrown a lot of picks, and that's really unlike him. But regardless, I still do think he's a good quarterback. And picks and bad quarterback play isn't always just on the quarterback. It can be on anybody else. Look at Tom Brady. He's not having a great season. Not his fault. But I still don't think he's an NFL type quarterback. I still think he'll be picked high in the draft, high as in the probably a second day pick. But I think he goes into UNLV, has a big game. I say that every week, and he's been until last week. He's kind of disappointed me, but I'll go San Jose State big again. If they don't score a lot of points this week, I might have to tip down my San Jose State hype, my David Fowles hype. But I'll go San Jose State 45 to 28 over UNLV. Next, Texas State at Idaho. Texas State last week beat my school, South Alabama, which is horrible, man. I think I'm getting more aggravated at the South Alabama games than I am the Alabama games. It's different being actual attending the school, and it's really much like a pride thing when it comes to going to a school and representing yourself with the football team, and it just feels different. You won't know it till you're actually in college. If your college has a football team, I mean, yes, okay, it's complete. I hate it when people talk bad about somebody that likes a team that doesn't go to your school. I mean, that isn't your school. I mean, what the frick? I mean, I've grown up an Alabama fan. Just because I chose to go to a college for a different reason doesn't mean I'm not a diehard fan of Alabama. Don't undermine me just because maybe somebody doesn't have enough money to go to Alabama. I mean, not my fault. Actually, I had better opportunities at South Alabama, closer to home, cheaper. I had better opportunities, and that's why I went to South Alabama. And that's the case for a lot of people. But I'm still diehard Alabama fan. It just feels really different, but it's still cool. But Texas State, with all that said, Texas State beat us by 2 points. We've lost 2 games by 1 point, one game by 2 points, and in the Tennessee game by 7 points. We were 7 yards away from tying the game. 2 of the games came on last-second field goals. One game came on a last-second field goal. There was a Tennessee game we were 7 yards away. The first game we lost to Troy by 1 point. We had scored with we had to go 99 yards in a minute 48, and we did, and we took the lead by a point. And this was after we missed a 27-yard field goal, and to try to make up for that, we went for 2-point conversion twice, and we failed both times. So that is at least 5 points off the board right there that we possibly could have gotten. And Troy goes on the field with like 50 seconds left and scores a touchdown, makes the extra point, wins by 1 point. Last week, we were on the field with about a minute left and take the lead against Texas State by a point. And then Texas State converts on a 4th and 24, and it completes a 50-something yard pass and kicks a last-second 42-yard field goal and wins the game. So we very easily could be 7-1 right now, maybe even 8-0 if we can get 7 yards on Tennessee. But I mean, we're a new program. But anyway, what the frick? I was probably on like a 5-minute rant there. But Texas State wins over Idaho because they beat my South Alabama Jaguars last week. Texas State, even though Idaho has a horrible defense, Texas State runs the option, runs the ball a lot. They have a good quarterback too. look very impressive. But Texas State, and a good defense too, like a pretty good defense. Texas State, 28-10 over Idaho. New Mexico State at Louisiana Lafayette. Obviously, I'm picking Louisiana Lafayette here. Terrence Broadway, great quarterback. Quarterback play alone will win over New Mexico State. Louisiana Lafayette, 42-17 over New Mexico State. Next, Tulane at Florida Atlantic. Nick Montana, the son of Joe Montana, or do I want to pick? Or do I want to pick Florida Atlantic, who has not been absolutely terrible this season. They were horrible last season, horrible, and I think 2 wins for Florida Atlantic is better than last year, that's for sure. And I think some Florida fans, they had a win over South Florida earlier this season, so that's definitely a positive for the program. And it's a big in-state win against a BCS level team. They've been competitive in most of their games. They really have. So I expect them to go to Tulane. I think they can get a win. Tulane's been kind of impressive this season, actually. They're 6-2 right now, but I expect them. I don't think they're much better. Really don't think they're much better than Florida Atlantic is. Florida Atlantic has came up on the wrong end of a couple games, and it's the opposite of Tulane. They've won a couple games that has really could have gone either way. So I think Florida Atlantic at home gets a upset win. It'll be a 6-2 team losing to a 2-6 team. So I'm going to go Florida Atlantic. And an upset win, close. Another close one, 27-24 over Tulane. Next, we have East Carolina, the high-powered offense over Florida National. Has been one of the most horrible teams in the country this season. So I think they can beat Florida International easily. Easily. Have a high-powered offense, no problem. 48-14 over Florida International. Next, we have Oklahoma State at Texas Tech. And as much as I hate to say it, man, I was wishing so much. I was wanting Texas Tech to win that game so much last week. So I really like Texas Tech, and I love seeing teams like that getting ranked real high. But they were 10, and they could have moved up a lot of spots if they had beat Oklahoma. They probably could have moved up maybe potentially to 7, maybe past Miami to 6. They very easily could have done that if they had beat Oklahoma because everybody thought they were completely for real. But here we go with the emotional losses. I think they're going to be completely down, and it's been a nice run. They were very competitive against Oklahoma. Very, very impressive. But I think Oklahoma State will go into Lubbock, get the win, and give Texas Tech 2 straight losses, and I hate it for them. But those emotional losses really, really do play a big part in everything. So I think Oklahoma State gets the win. And that does not undermine anything that Texas Tech has done this season. It's been a great ride by Cliff Kingsbury. He should be up for the Coach of the Year award, no doubt. With true freshmen playing quarterback for other freshmen, if it's not a true freshman walk-on playing quarterback, it's just a great job he's done. The defense has actually been looking pretty good as well. Well, better than the Texas Tech defenses of the past. But Oklahoma State by a touchdown, 35-28 over Texas Tech. Next, we have Pitt at Georgia Tech. And Pittsburgh lost last week. They lost to Navy, 24-21. And that's the week before. The week before, they had lost or beat Old Dominion by 11. And I had that Pitt, man. Had that Pitt. I had Old Dominion winning that game. And they had it close. And that would have been my upset pick of the year. And that would have felt awesome. But Georgia Tech, they should have a big game. It's a big run-stuffing defense in Pittsburgh with a struggling Tom Savage at quarterback and a Georgia Tech offense that can score a lot of points at any time. So I'm going to go Georgia Tech by 3 touchdowns over Pittsburgh. I really do think so. I'm going to say 45-24. Georgia Tech over Pittsburgh in this one. Okay, next we have Eastern Michigan at Toledo. Eastern Michigan, one of the worst teams in FBS. Toledo can score some points. Good quarterback and good overall players. Toledo by 17 points, 37-14 over Eastern Michigan. For some reason, I have a feeling Eastern Michigan won last week. No, whoa, no, they didn't. Sorry, no, they did not. They've only won one game against Howard. They've been blown out. See, they are one of the worst FBS level teams in the country, without a doubt. They beat a Howard team that's 3-5 by only 10 points. It's not. I really could see a team like Eastern Michigan, going down to FCS level in the next few years. I really do think it could. I never say that about teams, but I really do think they could. Is there announced attendance? I want to see what the announced attendance was for this game. What the heck, man? Box score. It should be under box score. Eastern Michigan and Howard. It has to be under 10,000. It has to be. 7,668. That's horrible, man. God. I knew it was going to be like that. It had to be over 15K to say FBS, so they might be forfeiting their FBS level eligibility soon. Okay, moving on. I said Toledo over Eastern Michigan. What did I say? 37-14. All right, Colorado at UCLA. UCLA's coming off a loss against Oregon. They'll get the W. Colorado getting better under McIntyre, the new head coach. They aren't laying down like they had in years past. They're actually staying quite competitive in their games and winning a good bit of them. But regardless, I think that they will get beat by UCLA. UCLA too much. They have too good of offense to be playing like they've been playing. They'll come out. They're hungry for a win. They'll get a win and get the ball rolling once again over Colorado. I'll say UCLA 42, Colorado 24. All right, next we have Arkansas State at South Alabama. And can we win this game? I think we can. We've been competitive. I mean, we can win any game that we play. I mean, heck, we were competitive. We've lost. Every game we've lost has been, 1, 2, 4. We've lost 4 games by combined 11 points. That's extremely sad. I'm trying to look up something real quick. I was looking Fresno State versus Colorado, still seeking to make up game, but it's a long shot. I was trying to look up how Fresno State and Colorado is going to be making up their game. But okay, anyway. Colorado. Okay, what the freak? Arkansas State is South Alabama. Can we win this game? Yes, I think we can. Playing at home at night. Arkansas State does have some players on their team that can run the football well and are good at the skill positions. They have David Oku, Adam Kennedy, a good quarterback, good wide receivers, and they are highly competitive in every game they play. They've looked bad at times. They've looked very impressive at times. So you never know what you'll get out of Arkansas State. A very inconsistent team, as South Alabama is. But we're consistent in competing. So that's a thing I think we have going for us. I think we'll be able to win this game. I really do think we are able to win. I think we can beat Arkansas State. Where's 26 in the country in passing yards? Wow, that's actually pretty nice. We're 67th in rushing yards with 165 points per game. That's pretty crazy to think that 165 rushing yards a game is good for 67th in the country. Wow. That's wild. But anyways, Ross Matheny's been playing his butt off all year. He's been an explosive player, running for hundreds of yards per games, and he's been keeping us in the game. So a senior will not let us lose this game. Another senior on the other side, Adam Kennedy, a good quarterback. But at home, we win this game. Heck, we've been winning games by a point. The couple games we have won has been by like 2 points and a point. And I don't think we've blown out anybody we played aside from Kent State. So we win this game by a point. By a point, why not? 34-33. Why not over Arkansas State? Alabama State at Kentucky. I did not even know Alabama State played FBS level teams. I didn't even think they were eligible to do so. This might be their first ever time playing the FBS level team. But anyways, Kentucky should win this game by a ton because Alabama State is not the best school in the world. So Alabama's Kentucky. For some reason, I have a feeling they're going to struggle against Alabama State. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that they're not going to be taking them seriously. And you got to take anybody that can field 11 players in the field competitively. So I'm going to pick Kentucky, but in a weird game, 34-13 over Alabama State. New Mexico at San Diego State. Picking San Diego State for one reason only, and that is because they were competitive against Fresno State Bulldogs, which might very easily get a BCS bowl. So let's go San Diego State over New Mexico. 31-20 in this one. Yeah. All right. Next we have Boise State at Colorado State. Can Boise State win? I think they can, but watch out. Colorado State can win any given week. They're a good team, very balanced. So it could be a good game. It really could be. But I think Boise State will get it done. Joe Southwick's a good quarterback. I believe he was injured last week, and he did not play, and the backup didn't look too well. They did come back in the second half and didn't make it look too bad against Boise. But what's the dude's name? Their running back Jay Ajayi. Sorry, I don't have to pronounce his name. He's good. He is good. I watched him play the other night. He did look good. But regardless, I think they can win. But don't let Colorado State fool you. They can come out and win this game. I think I'm repeating myself, but they're balanced. A good quarterback, good accurate quarterback, game manager. They'll win. Boise State will, but close, 30-27 over Colorado State. UTEP at Texas A&M. Enough said, really. Texas A&M should have no problem. They should score a ton of points. Johnny Manziel in offense, man, it's ridiculous. Mike Evans should be up for the Heisman, no doubt. And he will be now. You know why? Because the commentator mentioned it. That's all it takes. The commentator mentioned his name and the Heisman in the same sentence for the first time. And that's all it took. Wow, the Jets lost the Bengals 49-9. What the heck? Okay, that's all it takes is for a commentator to mention his name in the Heisman. One sentence, and it's going to take off now, and he'll get some consideration. So, the best wide receiver I believe in college football right now, him or Marquise Lee from USC. You know he's not putting up the numbers, but you can't do that when you have bad quarterbacks. But A&M big, 56-20 over UTEP. Nevada at Fresno State. Can't pick against Fresno State, man. They have a great quarterback in Derek Carr. Yeah, it took them overtime last week to beat San Diego State. But, I mean, struggles happen from time to time. It just does. It's just it's life. But, good quarterback in Nevada and Cody Fajardo. He's been a little banged up this season. But, I think Fresno State should win. Nevada might keep it a little bit closer than people think, but Fresno State, I think they should win. They should be able to win. A lot of points should be put up in this one by both sides. 47-34, Fresno State over Nevada. Now, the reason I was looking up that Colorado Fresno State thing is at the end of the regular season, Fresno State will be, if they don't get the game rescheduled or somehow add a team to their schedule later on in the season, which I think is possible to do so, Fresno State will be only 11-0 going into their conference championship game. And I don't guess that'll look. I mean, what I was thinking, it would be really weird for a team to be 11-0 going to a BCS bowl. That'd be really strange, and might actually hurt their chances to a point. But because Northern Illinois might be 13-0 with going 12-0 during the regular season and winning their conference championship game, so that'd be a different animal there. But I really do hope those two non-BCS schools, Fresno State and Northern Illinois, make the BCS. That'd be cool. But I hope they get the game rescheduled. I think they can beat Colorado, but never know. But yeah, Fresno State should win. What'd I say? 47-34 this one. Alright, I avoided the last game for a long time, and here we go, the toughest game of the week. The biggest game of the week, and the only really interesting national championship implicated game of the league. Miami at Florida State. And you have so many people, which I think is so ignorant, saying that, ooh, Miami should not even be ranked in the top 25 poll. I had a guy on Twitter, I was kind of arguing with him back and forth, saying Miami should not even be, Miami is the worst number 25, the worst ranked team right now. Shut the frick up, man. Teams win, that's all you have to do. If you win, if you're undefeated, you're rightfully so ranked as high as you are because you haven't lost. Good teams find ways to win. Doesn't matter if you win every game 2-0. Doesn't matter if you have negative yardage every game and the other team has 7,000 yards per game. If you win that game, that's all that matters. And that's what Miami is doing. They look horrible doing it, but they win. It kind of reminds you of Notre Dame last season. Notre Dame did not look good whatsoever going undefeated, but they went undefeated, man. They were the only team to do so. How can you, you cannot, what am I looking for? You cannot say the things you're saying about an undefeated team just because they're not winning the games 80-0 like Oregon does against Nickel State. You can't do that. It's not right. It's not football. You look to go undefeated. That's all that matters. That win, that zero in the loss column is all that matters. So, I even said is that they look as bad as are they even worse than a Nebraska team that just lost to Minnesota? Shut the frick up. You have two or three lost teams in the top 25 poll, and you're gonna say they're better than Miami? No, man. Shut the frick up. People were so ignorant when it comes to fandom in football. They're so they base things. They take things so quickly as it happens, and like I check this message board a lot from time to time. I'm not gonna say message board it is, but every time something happens, like say it's a pick by a quarterback, go check the message board and you'll see blah blah Teddy Bridgewater is the worst quarterback in football, and they'll say he's the worst blah blah blah. Shut the freak up! Any quarterback throws a pick. The dude's the best quarterback in football. Even there's people arguing with me on there talking about how Brett Hundley should be a higher pick than Teddy Bridgewater in the draft. Shut the freak up, man. Teddy Bridgewater's probably gonna be the number one pick in the draft. I bet somebody they were willing to bet me $500 Teddy Bridgewater would not be the first quarterback drafted. People are so stupid. But it's all predicting Miami and Florida State. As much as I've hyped Miami here, all that matters is the teams find ways to win. They have Duke Johnson at running back, a great running back that can have a breakout game any given week. A good quality quarterback in Stephen Morris, and they have speedsters on defense, talented defense, young but talented, a very young team, a young offense pretty much. Stephen Morris, I think Stephen Morris, is he a senior or is he a junior? I think Morris is just a junior. Is he? I'm not even sure, man. He's a senior, okay. A senior leg quarterback. I did not know that. And they're just finding ways to win. And that's all that matters. They beat Florida really earlier in the season. That's really what launched their high ranking. They had to come back to beat Wake last week. They had to come back to beat North Carolina. And it does show you that they can find ways to win when it's really controversial. So that's kudos to them. That shows you they're a good quality football team. And then you move on to Florida State, who is looking extremely impressive. Looks like they might have one of the best quarterbacks in the country in Jameis Winston. Looking mighty good. And then you have a good running back in Devontae Freeman. Good wide receivers, a very good defense, and blowing out teams left and right. Blew out Clemson, who was number 3 in the country at the time, by 40 points at their home stadium. The best win in college football so far this season. It's hard to pick against them. And now, when you have these people talking about how much of a blowout it's going to be, this is a rivalry game. Both teams are going to be fired up. Miami's going to give them their all. And rivalry games big games like this, I don't believe has a chance at being a blowout. Miami will find some way to stay in the game somewhat, but Florida State will find a way to win, as Miami will find a way to stay in the game. Florida State, I don't have any doubt in my mind they'll win this game, but I really find it hard to believe that they'll blow out Miami by as much as people are saying they are. I think Florida State wins this game by 10 points, and that's about as high as I will go. 2 touchdowns, I can see that, but I'm going to stick at 10. I'm going to go 37-27, Florida State over my... No, I'm feeling 34-24, Florida State over Miami in this one, and that's it. That's all my picks. Okay, here's my guess. I'm guessing over an hour now. An hour and hour and 15 minutes. Man, this video is so long. I apologize. I went on a long tirade and I have a lot of stuff to do, man. It's 12:48 at night. God, I'm an idiot. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did. Comment below if you did. Comment below if you disagree with any of my picks. And just let me know what your picks are for the week in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Be sure to leave a like for this long, thought-out video. And be sure to follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/S3RTR. Have a great night, guys. And as always, roll Tide, go Sox, and go Titans to you. Have a great week. And until next time, peace.